in teaching?
This is my 11th year.
Where do you attend college?
The University of Northern Iowa.
Would you recommend that school to students like myself who are interested in pursuing teaching today?
Yeah, UNI is a really great school for teachers and people who want to become teachers. They always are looking for research-based strategies, and it's a college that's really known for teaching, so I highly recommend it.
Do you have a preference as to a preferred subject or grade level?
Yes, I love 4th grade. I taught other grades, but 4th grade has been my favorite. I hope I retire teaching 4th grade someday.
How did you first become interested in a career in teaching?
I think I decided when I was in 8th grade or something, I thought I had to plan out every class I needed for college, and I wanted it all to be geared toward kids because I loved kids. So I wanted everything like geared toward whatever I was going to do for college. So I decided really early on what I wanted to do.
Did you have a former teacher who particularly influenced or inspired you?
Yeah, I had a couple along the way. One of them was my high school math teacher who was really good. I always loved math, and she always had really interesting problems, and I really loved being in her class. And another one was my Spanish teacher, so I still love Spanish to this day because of her. She always made class like super fun and interesting, and learned a lot.
If you weren't a teacher, what other career would you consider?
I really don't think that I could do anything else. Like I don't know what else I would ever do. So hopefully I never get fired. Just kidding. Just kidding.
What memories do you have about your first year teaching?
My first year was kind of rough. It was really hard. So I started off teaching 6th grade, and 5 weeks into the school year, they switched me to 3rd grade. And it was a really hard transition because I was already super nervous about it being my first year of teaching. And then they moved me to a different grade level, and I was like in the middle of the school year, not the middle, but still. And so I was super nervous about it all. And then I feel like my poor kids learned like nothing that year because I really didn't know what I was doing. I'm sure they learned something, but I don't know, it was really hard. It was a big adjustment, but as I kept going, you just try to do something better every year. So
did it go as I expected?
No. That's when everything got all messed up. My 2nd year was like that also. The day before school started, I thought I was teaching 3rd grade, and then I was going to be teaching 1st grade, and then by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the day before school started, I found out I was teaching 4th grade. So, like, all in one day, I was like, oh, I'm a 3rd grade, 1st grade, no, wait, 4th grade teacher. And then ever since then, I've been teaching 4th grade. So that's when I decided that that's my favorite. And I already told my principal that this is where I hope to retire, right here in this room, teaching 4th grade.
What is the most challenging aspect of your job?
Probably the hardest thing for me is one, sometimes like trying to get things graded, especially that are like subjective, like writing is difficult to grade because you want to be fair, but it's subjective. And it's also really difficult like when I can't get a hold of parents. They won't call me back because I want everybody to be involved with their kids' education and know what's going on. And so it's difficult for me when I can't get a hold of them or when they're mad. Luckily that very rarely happens, but I always like really want to have a strong relationship with my students and my parents.
What is the most important thing that you have learned about being a successful classroom teacher?
I think the most important thing is that you have to be willing to keep changing, change is difficult for me, but you have to be willing to change and to always try something new and try what's best. And what worked last year amazingly might totally flop this year, or what was terrible last year, you might try it again and it might be like perfect. It just depends on like the group of kids. So I mean, you're always changing like what you're doing with different classes, and you're always learning and trying to do something better. Like I try every year, I figure if I can even just do just a little bit better than I did last year. So by the time I retire, maybe I'll be like super great. But until then, I'm just going to keep trying to get better every year.
What is the best advice that anyone ever gave you?
Probably the best advice would be to make sure that I have strong relationships with my parents and the other kids in my class. And I try, like, even when I see kids in third grade, like, I try to get to know the kids before they even come into fourth grade and build that relationship up. And so it's always exciting to me when they're like, oh, I really wanted you to be my teacher. I really wanted to be in your class. And every year I tell them, you might not like that after you find out. After you're in my class for a while, you might not like it so much. But I'm always joking. Most of the time they really, I really do have a good relationship with the kids and the parents. And, like, I want them to know that, like, I'm not just their teacher for just this year for fourth grade. Like, I want them to know they can always come back to me and I'll always be there for them. And that's probably one of the coolest things. I've always had a lot of kids that will come back and visit and come and talk to me or invite me to the graduation or just let me know what's going on in their life. And some of the parents too, I mean, that they'll call me and be like, hey, just need to let you know what's going on. And I love that because I really do care and I really do want to know what's going on in their lives forever.
What aspects of teaching in the Council Bluffs Community School District do you especially appreciate?
I think I really love the fact that they're, like, always looking for the best research-based strategies for teachers to use, and they're very good about making sure, like, teachers get, like, staff development. So, like, I love that they started offering the early bird classes. I take, like, all the ones I can. I'm like, wait a minute, you're gonna pay me to learn? Because usually you have to go and pay, like, a lot of money at college to go and learn. And if they're all of a sudden paying me to learn, I mean, that means they're really invested in their teachers, and they really want their teachers to have, the latest and greatest, and they're really forward thinkers, and I really love that about them. Something I appreciate.
All right, well, thank you so much for answering my question.
Of course. Thanks for coming by.